Yo, boys and girls, it's D Jose 101. Wait for it. Wait. Don't interrupt me. Wait. 101. Back in effect. How'd you like my intro? I personally didn't think it was that bad. Since everybody else in the IWC has got an intro, I figured I'd have mine. Tell me what you think. I'm here real quick to mainly talk about a couple things. First things first, there's a couple guys I got to plug. Mr. DT253, I just discovered him a couple of days ago, and he is very funny. He can do like impressions of YouTubers, and he knows his wrestling stuff very well. So I'm going to put him in the description box. He does like Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, does topics on wrestlers, things like that. Another user I'd like to plug, and I apologize if I get your name wrong, dude, so I'm sorry. Smoker Sue. This is a guy who also gives his input on wrestling, gives his input like on Raw, SmackDown, TNA, things like that. Check them both out. They're going to be in this description box. If you like them, subscribe. Thank you. Now, on to my main thing I'd like to talk about. Hogan and Flair. Why are they doing it again? March 8th. I know they're going to do the tag match between Hogan and Abyss and Flair and AJ. And I think that night Hogan's going to go heel, which, why would you have him go heel when you can clearly make Abyss the monster heel just by having him mess up Hogan? Just saying. Hogan going heel and possibly reuniting with the band. For what? We've seen it in TNA. We've seen it in WCW. We've seen it in WWE. And now we may have to relive it in TNA. To quote one of my favorite comedians, Steve Harvey, MFer for what? Why? Why would you do it? With Flair, you have him as AJ Styles' so-called mentor, and it's like, please stop trying to make people the next Ric Flair. There can only be one Ric Flair, and he can draw based on being Ric Flair. And then you're going to have Hogan and Flair in TNA possibly as a feud. And I can understand why they did this tag match. They're trying to get this feud over by having the young guys into it. I hate to say it, but even if you have the young guys into this storyline, into this feud, it's probably not going to be a big money draw as it was back in the day, because in the early 90s in the WWF, everybody wanted to see Hogan Flair at WrestleMania 8. That's what was going to happen. They did house shows, and it really wasn't selling well, according to what people say. So they did Hogan versus Psycho Sid or Sid Justice, whatever you want to call him. And I myself just watched that match a couple days ago, and I have to say, that may be the worst WrestleMania main event I have ever seen. I think Savage and Flair was better from that year. But anyway, they did Hogan Flair in WCW in 1994. Hogan won the title there, like I believe his first night in the company. And they feuded for like probably 6, 7 years, up to the time Hogan and Flair both left WCW. And then they came back to the WWF, now known as the WWE. And they had Hogan and Flair probably do one match, I believe. That's all I can really remember. What I would have done with that was I would have had Hogan feud with Flair while Hulk Hogan was still a part of the NWO. It would have made more sense. You could have had the NWO take over Raw, and it would have gotten more over. Just my opinion. But here we are in TNA. Just because you got the young guys in the storyline doesn't mean it's going to get over very well. It's not going to be a big money draw as it was back in the day. I'm just saying. Now, the next real quick thing I want to talk about is this whole Bret and Vince thing I keep hearing about from WWE and everybody here in the IWC. And my thoughts on this is, I personally think this is too long. They waited way too long to do this angle. It's probably about 3 years too late, because what I would have done with this angle is, if you guys remember back in 2007 when Shawn Michaels came back after Randy Orton punt kicked him in the head earlier that year, they had a match at Survivor Series. And what I would have did was, while Shawn got Orton and the sharpshooter. I would have had Bret come out and then just mess Michaels up. And then the next night, you could have them make peace by just saying, instead of fighting, why don't we just forgive and forget? You screwed me. I got you last night. Now there's no point in fighting. Let's just go on, and they make peace. And then you could have had Vince supposedly ban Bret from the WWE. And then, Vince could just basically just be the heel that he always is. And then a month going into WrestleMania, instead of doing all this hornswoggle McMahon crap, you could have had something to where, like, you could tease Bret Hart basically coming back to WWE like Vince has been doing with all these stupid farewells and whatnot. And, then I would have just had Bret come out like probably the night after No Way Out and just mess Vince up. Have them just like punch each other in the gut, just kick each other. And then have them go at a match at WrestleMania 24 with Bret locking in the sharpshooter on Vince. But here we are 13 years later, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And many people just aren't that excited about it. I could see why. It's years too late. They should have did it in 07, ended it at WrestleMania 24, and here we are now. The payoff to this feud, all they've done is talk. They haven't done really anything else with this. I mean, Bret's gone apeshit destroying equipment, and Vince has just been talking crap saying you deserve to be screwed. I'm not going to put your dad in the Hall of Fame. It's getting really repetitive, and like, as much as I'm excited to see this angle finally close at WrestleMania, they should have did it at 24. Just my opinion. I know people are probably not going to agree with the idea. I know people are probably going to be upset when I'm saying that, like, as much as I've anticipated this, I'm just not looking forward to Bret and Vince at WrestleMania. I'm sorry. But anyway, that's just my quick thoughts. I'll holler at you guys later. Please leave me your feedback and your comments and whatnot. Rate, subscribe, do whatever you'd like to do. And also, just to remind everybody, I'll be on the U2C very soon, guest hosting the March edition, so stay tuned for that. I'll let you guys later. Thank you for watching. Peace.